Ah yes, poverty franchises. Pretty much every single major sports league has them, including the NHL. I have decided, since it's pretty close to Christmas, we are in the season of giving. I mean, it is 37 days away. I have decided to give these poverty franchises an opportunity at winning a Stanley Cup in NHL 24. Now, you're probably wondering, how am I going to do that? Well, I've basically decimated most of the NHL. There are only 10 teams remaining, all of them being poverty, or have been poverty for a very long time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 10 poverty franchises currently in the NHL. So here we go. These are the 10 poverty franchises currently in the NHL. We, of course, have the Arizona Coyotes. No explanation needed. Buffalo is also here. Calgary, Columbus, Ottawa, Philly, San Jose, and St. Louis. Most of these franchises do not even have a Stanley Cup, but some of them do. But they have not been very good for very long. St. Louis, they only had one really good year, which was like 2019 when they actually went on and won a Stanley Cup. San Jose, they were good for a very long time, but are straight ass right now. Philly's not very good. Ottawa has a bright future, but really in this franchise has never won a Stanley Cup. Back in like the 30s they did, but they were different Ottawa Senators. I don't even know. It's kind of confusing, honestly. Columbus, no Stanley Cup. Calgary, I believe, only has one Stanley Cup. They're straight poverty. Buffalo hasn't made the playoffs in like 20 years. And the Arizona Coyotes are the Arizona Coyotes. Wait a minute, I'm forgetting two teams. Where are the last two teams? There we go. The Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. I totally forgot about them. That is how poverty they are. Except for Vancouver this season, they are really good. They're like the second best team in the entire NHL, having a great season. I'm very happy for them. They're finally performing up to standard, but they have never won a Stanley Cup in their franchise's history, and neither has the Winnipeg Jets. So what we're going to do is we are going to simulate 5 full seasons and give these poverty franchises chances at winning a Stanley Cup in NHL 24. Oh, hey there. I think this is the part of the video where I ask you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So if your favorite team is on the list, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more poverty content just like this. Now it is time to get into the video. So unfortunately for most of the league right now, only 4 teams are going to make the playoffs, and this season it was Vancouver, Ottawa, Winnipeg, and Buffalo. Vancouver being the best team in the entire NHL. No surprise there. They were actually tied with Ottawa with 103 points. I really thought Vancouver was going to run away with this considering how good they've been in real life. But we also have Columbus, Calgary, Philadelphia, San Jose, Arizona, and the St. Louis Blues being the worst team in the poverty NHL. 29 wins, that is tough. Now, somehow Patrick Kane, who signed with the Buffalo Sabres, is going to end up leading the entire NHL in scoring with 104 points, followed by Tage Thompson's 100. Elias Pettersson was up there with 97. Jeff Skinner had 95. Huberdeau was up there. Big bounce back season by him. God, that contract in real life is so awful. Nazem Kadri was up here with 92. Johnny Hockey, Claude Giroux had 92, and Elias Lindholm 90, the newest member of the Edmonton Oilers. If you know, you know. Now for goals, Kadri is going to lead the entire NHL with 49, followed by Patrick Laine's 44. Jeff Skinner had 44. Kyle Connor was up there. Lindholm had a good season. Pettersson only 35. Kuzmenko had 34, and Joel Fabry had 33 goals. He's an 82 overall, third line scoring forward. Probably just had the best season of his career. Yes, he did by far. Now for defenseman, Josh Morrissey is going to lead the way in points with 71, followed by Quinn Hughes is only 69. In real life, he's going on a tear. Rasmus Dahlin had 53, Thomas Chabot 48, and Zach Werenski 45. Now for goalies, Korpisalo is going to lead in wins with 40, followed by Demko's 37, Markstrom had 32, and Merzlikins 31. And for shutouts, Merzlikins is going to lead the way with 4, Vejmelka had 3, Korpisalo 3, Hellebuck 3, Carter Hart 2. And here we go, boys. We only have 4 teams in the playoffs. The first matchup is Vancouver versus Buffalo, and then on the other side, we have Ottawa versus Winnipeg. Let's see who is going to go on and make the Stanley Cup final in year number 1. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the 2 best teams in the entire league with the Vancouver Canucks and the Ottawa Senators. So let's go ahead and see who is going to take home Lord Stanley at the end of year number 1 between these 2 god-awful. And the Ottawa Senators have done it. They have gone on and won their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history, technically, as they go ahead and defeat the Vancouver Canucks in the Stanley Cup finals. And I'm kind of shocked by this. I mean, I think think Vancouver has a slightly better roster. I mean, in real life, it's not really close. Ottawa's kind of struggling with injuries and stuff, but in the game, at least, I think Vancouver should have took this. But the Ottawa Senators are going to pull it out and take it home, baby. Hey, yo, pause. What did I just say? And here comes their captain, Brady Tkachuk, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his career. He gets it before his brother, Matthew Tkachuk, obviously. I mean, he made the Stanley Cup final last year, but then they choked. As the Senators are Stanley Cup champions in year number 1. Now, for the playoffs, Timmy Stu is going to lead the way. Only 1 goal, but 13 points, followed by Giroux's 12. Brady Tkachuk had 12. Thomas Chabot, 12. Kubalik was up there. Tarasenko. Yeah, the Ottawa Senators offense was off the charts this postseason. They had like 5 guys with over 10 points, and they only played 10 games. Now, for the awards, obviously, Ottawa won the Stanley Cup. The Ted Lindsay is going to go to Patrick Kane. The Art Ross to Patrick Kane. And the Hart, while the Maurice Richard is going to go to Kadri. Quinn Hughes is going to win the Norris. The Lady Bing to Patrick Kane. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Claude Giroux. The Vezina to Jacob Markstrom. And the Selke will go to Elias Lindholm of the Calgary Flames. So at the end of season number 2, the Buffalo Sabres are going to finish as the best team as they go 52, 25, and 5. Good enough for 109 points. Followed by the Vancouver Canucks, Winnipeg Jets, and Columbus Blue Jackets. So we got 2 new teams, actually 3 new teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now Ottawa, San Jose, Arizona, Calgary, and St. Louis. Philly was actually the worst team this year, only winning 27 games. But all of these poverty franchises are going to miss the playoffs this season. Johnny Hockey is going to lead the entire NHL in scoring with 103 points, followed by Elias Pettersson's 93. Clayton Keller also had 93. Connor and Scheifele were up there. Jeff Skinner, again, a good season by him. Tage Thompson, 88. Jonathan Huberdeau, 87. And Nick Schmaltz, 85. Has this guy ever put up 85 points at all in his career? No. His most is like 59. Now, for goals, Jeff Skinner is going to lead the way with 47, followed by Kyle Connors, 44. Nazem Kadri had 43. Johnny Hockey was up there. Patrick Laine, Brock Besser, who's going off in real life right now. Jason Zucker had 36 goals. A very big season by him. Now for D-Man, Quinn Hughes is going to lead the way with 71 points, followed by Dahlin, 70. Philip Hronek at 60. Josh Morrissey, 53. And Justin Falk, 41. Merz Linkins is going to lead all goalies and wins with only 34. That's pretty low, honestly. Followed by Korpisalo's 32. Vejmelka had 32. Demko, 32. Now for shutouts in the NHL, Capo Kakinen is going to lead with 4, followed by Merz Linkins, 3. And Korpisalo, 3. And here we go yet again in the playoffs. We have Buffalo versus Columbus, Vancouver versus Winnipeg. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup final. And in the Stanley Cup final, yet again, Vancouver is going to make it, but this time they're up against the Columbus Blue Jackets as they would sweep Buffalo. Jesus. And the Vancouver Canucks will win a hard-fought Game 7 over the Winnipeg Jets. Let's find out who is going to go home with Lord Stanley at the end of season number 2, Columbus or Vancouver. And the Vancouver Canucks are going to get the revenge over last season losing to the Ottawa Senators as they go on and defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Stanley Cup final. I mean, honestly, they probably should have won last year, but they do get it done in year number 2 as this poverty franchise is going to get their very first Stanley Cup in their history. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in Columbus, Ohio. Here comes the captain of the Vancouver Canucks, their very new captain, Quinn Hughes, his very first season as a captain in the NHL. Actually, it's year number 2, technically. There he is, taking home the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his NHL career as the Vancouver Canucks have gone all the way in year number 2. Now for the playoffs, Philip Hronek is going to lead all skaters in scoring. Only 1 goal, but 15 helpers for 16 points. I mean, the dude is an 88 overall, but I think EA is just riding this guy's nutsack. JT Miller had 15, also 5 goals. Kuzmenko was up there. Teddy Bluger had 12. Johnny Hockey and Quinn Hughes. Johnny Gaudreau is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while the Maurice Richard is going to go to Jeff Skinner. The Norris, the Rasmus Dahlin. JT Miller is going to win the Conn Smythe, the Vezina, the Merz Linkins, and the Selke will go to, yet again, Elias Lindholm. So surprisingly, Calgary is actually going to end up finishing as the best team in the NHL as they go on with a record of 50, 27, and 5, good enough for 105 points on the season. Followed by Buffalo, Columbus, and Vancouver. The rest of the NHL did not make the playoffs, and the Arizona Coyotes were the worst team with 34 wins. But I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm very shocked seeing Calgary do this good. I mean, 50 wins, I believe that's the most during the video so far. Johnny Hockey is going to lead lead all skaters yet again in scoring, this time with 99 points, followed by Tage Thompson's 93, Mark Scheifele had 92, Clayton Keller was up there, Patrick Laine 90, Patrick Kane signed with the Calgary Flames, I guess that's why they simulated so goddamn well, 39 goals and 86 points. Buchnevich was up there, Lindholm and Skinner. Now for goals in the NHL, Patrick Laine is going to lead the way with 47, Tage Thompson was up there, Patrick Kane, Scheifele, Kuzmenko had a good season, Kadri had 34, Brock Besser only 34 as well. Duclair had a pretty good year, 32 goals. Now for defenders here, Rasmus Dahlin's going to lead the way with 78 points, followed by Quinn Hughes' 71. Jacob Markstrom's going to lead in wins with 37, followed by Mers Lincoln's 34. Korpisalo had 30, Demko 30, and Hellebuck only 29. And for shutouts in the NHL, Markstrom's going to lead the way with 6. So they had very good goaltending and very good pickups with Patrick Kane, obviously. Demko had 4, Blackwood 3, Mers Lincoln's 2, Kakinen 2, and Jordan Binnington 2. The absolute menace. Too bad he's not very good in goal right now. 360 goals against average. That is rough. And now for the playoff matchups, we have Calgary versus Vancouver, Buffalo versus Columbus. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup final. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Calgary Flames versus the Buffalo Sabres, as the Flames defeated Vancouver in 6 games and Buffalo beat Columbus in game 7. So let's see who is going to go on and take home the Stanley Cup in year number 3. And the Buffalo Sabres have finally done it. They have gone on and won their very first Stanley Cup in their Poverty's franchise's history, as they have been straight dog water for the last 20 years. I believe missing the playoffs like 17 years in a row. This could bring a grown man to cry in front of his wife. That is how emotional this Stanley Cup victory could be. If it happened in real life, that is. I'm not going to cry for a video game, obviously. And there it is, the Stanley Cup being raised in the Saddle Dome. Man, it's time to fucking tear it down. I think it's time for a new arena here in Calgary. There's Kyle Okposo, the captain of the Buffalo Sabres. What a weird captain, but I'm not going to question it, as the Buffalo Sabres have gone on to win the Stanley Cup in year number 3. Nazem Kadri is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 17 points in 12 games, followed by Rasmus Dahlin, 16. Tage Thompson had 14, also 7 goals. Jonathan Huberdeau was up there. Alex Tuck, who has been terrible in my franchise mode. Tage Thompson is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross to Johnny Hockey and Maurice Richard to bald Patrick Laine. I mean, seriously, why did he shave his head? The Norris to Rasmus Dahlin, the Conn Smythe also to Dahlin. The Vezina is going to go to Jacob Markstrom, and the Selke will go to, yet again, Elias Lindholm. So at the end of year number 4, the defending champs in the Buffalo Sabres, they are going to end up finishing the season with a record of 50, 23, and 9, good enough for 1 in the entire NHL. Followed by Columbus, Ottawa was up there, Arizona finally made the playoffs. Sorry to Calgary, Vancouver, Philly, San Jose, Winnipeg, and St. Louis all missed the playoffs. The Blues being the worst team in the NHL yet again. This is consistently. Somehow Jeff Skinner is going to lead the entire NHL in scoring with 103 points, followed by Buchnevich's 91. Clayton Keller had 91, Tuck 91, Giroux 89, Thompson 88, Patrick Kane was up there. Can't forget about Huberdeau and Scheifele. Now for goals in the NHL, Patrick Laine is going to lead the way with 47 yet again, followed by Scheifele's 43, Jeff Skinner had 43, Buchnevich 40. For defenseman, Quinn Hughes is going to have 74 points, followed by Dahlin 69, Josh Morrissey 65. And for goalies, Korpisalo is going to lead in wins with 38, followed by Markstrom's 34, Vejmelka 34, and Jacob Markstrom yet again is going to lead in shutouts, this time with 6. And in the playoffs, we have the Buffalo Sabres versus the Arizona Coyotes, Columbus versus Ottawa. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the defending champs in the Buffalo Sabres versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, as Buffalo beat Arizona in 7, as well as Columbus against Ottawa. Now it's time to find out who is walking home with the Stanley Cup in year number 4, Buffalo or Columbus. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to spoil the Buffalo Sabres back-to-back Stanley Cups as they go on and win their very first in their franchise's history. Columbus is not that old of a franchise, honestly. When did they come into the NHL? Like the late 90s, early 2000s? But finally, these many years later, they are going to get it done over Buffalo in the Stanley Cup Finals, as the closeout game was a dominating victory. I believe it was like 7-3. It was an absolute gong show of a Stanley Cup Final game, and there is Lord Stanley, baby. Here comes their captain, Bruce Jenner, formerly known as Caitlyn Jenner. He actually transferred back, I believe, just to win the Stanley Cup with the boys, as the Columbus Blue Jackets have gone on and won the Stanley Cup in year number 4. Jeff Skinner is going to lead the entire playoffs in scoring with 17 points, followed by Patrick Kane, 16. Dylan Cousins had 14. Bruce Jenner had 13. I am glad you made the switch, buddy, because you got to win the Stanley Cup with the boys. Nothing better. Jeff Skinner is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while the Maurice Richard is going to go to Patrick Laine. The Norris, the Quinn Hughes, the Conn Smythe is going to go to Bruce Jenner. The Vezina, the Veg Melka, and the Selke will go to Elias Lindholm yet again. Now, for the final season, the Ottawa Senators are going to end up as the best team in the NHL, winning 51 games, followed by Buffalo, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. The rest of the teams did not make the playoffs, as San Jose was the worst, only winning 35 games on the season, but we do got Winnipeg and Vancouver back in here. Maybe Winnipeg can get it done and win their very first Stanley Cup since coming back to Winnipeg. I don't even know if they won a Stanley Cup ever. Kyle Connor's going to lead the NHL in scoring with 100 points, followed by Timmy Stews, 97. Clayton Keller had 93. Nikolai Ehlers is up here. Brady Tkachuk had a good season. Nick Schmaltz, Johnny Hockey, Mark Scheifele had 83 for goals in the NHL. I mean, Patrick Laine has been dominating. 49 goals this season, followed by Kyle Connors, 47. Timmy Stew, 38. Pedersen, 38. Logan Couture had 36. Quinn Hughes is going to lead all D-men in scoring with 76 points, followed by Rasmus Dahlin, Philip Hronek, Josh Morrissey, and Zach Werenski. We honestly do not have a lot of good defenders in the NHL right now between these teams. Jonas Korpisalo is going to have the most wins with 39, followed by Merz Lincoln's 33, and Veg Melka, 33. Demko was up there as well. Now for shutouts, 3 is going to lead the entire NHL. I guess the goalies were off. And here we go with our playoff matchups. Ottawa versus Winnipeg, Buffalo versus Vancouver. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup final. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Winnipeg Jets versus the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo already won 1 during the video. They're looking for their second. So for the final Stanley Cup final of the video, that is way too many finals. Regardless, let's see who goes on and takes home the Stanley Cup. And the Winnipeg Jets have finally done it. They have gone on to win their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. I actually just looked it up while I was waiting. They have never won a Stanley Cup, but now in the final season of the video, they have got it done with the core of Mark Scheifele, Nikolai Ehlers, Kyle Connor, Josh Morrissey, Connor Hellebuck. Most of these guys are probably gone within like 3 years, I'd say, in real life, but they have done it. They have done what they could not do in real life. The only unfortunate part for them is they are going to have to lift the Stanley Cup on Buffalo's home ice, and here comes their captain, Adam Lowry, I believe. What a weird choice for captaincy, but regardless, the Winnipeg Jets are going to get it done in the 5th and final season of the video. Now for the entire playoffs, Jeff Skinner is going to lead in goals with 7 and points with 18, followed by Tage Thompson's 15. At Quinn had 13, I follow 13, Ehlers 12, and Alex Tuck 12. Timmy Stew is actually going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, the Art Ross to Kyle Connor, and Maurice Richard again to Patrick Laine. The Norris is going to go to Quinn Hughes yet again. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Alex Iafallo. The Vezina to Casey DeSmith, and the Selke will go to Elias Lindholm 5 years in a row. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, of course. And there you go. I have given the poverty franchises that are in the NHL a chance at a Stanley Cup, and most of them have taken it. I mean, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Buffalo, all got it done during the simulation. I would like to say thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments what I should do next, and remember, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.